My wife publicly humiliated me, saying, "You're replaceable. This company is mine." She turned white when the lawyers revealed I owned 50% of it. People always assume the loudest person in the room is the one in charge. That assumption cost my wife everything. For nearly 9 years, I helped build a technology consulting company from a tiny operation run out of a rented garage into a business generating millions in annual revenue. If you asked any of our employees who founded the company, they'd probably say my wife, Jessica. She was the face. She handled interviews, networking events, investor meetings, and social media. She loved being in the spotlight. I, on the other hand, preferred staying behind the scenes. I designed the systems, built relationships with clients, hired engineers, solved problems, and made sure projects were actually delivered. Jessica often joked that she sold dreams while I built them. At first, it was funny. Then it slowly stopped being a joke. As the company grew, she became obsessed with appearances. Luxury handbags, designer clothes, VIP business events, magazine interviews. Every conversation somehow came back to status. She started introducing herself as the founder instead of co-founder. The first time she did it, I figured she'd simply forgotten. The 10th time, I knew it wasn't an accident. Whenever someone asked what I did, she'd laugh. "Oh, Daniel handles the boring technical stuff. He'd be lost without me." Everyone laughed. I laughed too, mostly because I didn't want to embarrass her. But every joke chipped away at something inside me. Friends noticed. My younger sister asked me one evening, "Does it bother you that she never gives you credit?" I shrugged. It isn't worth fighting over. Looking back, I should have listened. Things became worse after we moved into our new headquarters. Jessica wanted a massive office with glass walls, marble floors, and a reception desk that looked more expensive than some houses. She insisted on putting a huge framed photo of herself in the lobby. Not the team, not the company, just herself. Employees joked about it when she wasn't around. Nobody dared say anything to her face. She had developed a habit of humiliating people publicly. Late reports? She'd scold managers in front of everyone. Minor mistakes? She'd make sarcastic comments during meetings. I often apologized to employees afterward because I knew they deserved better. One Friday morning, we held our quarterly company meeting. Nearly 80 employees gathered in the conference hall. Department heads, managers, clients joining through video calls. It was supposed to be a celebration. We'd just landed the biggest contract in company history. Jessica walked onto the stage wearing an expensive white suit and carrying herself like she owned the world. She gave a 30-minute speech about leadership, about sacrifice, about vision. Not once did she mention the team, or me. Then someone from marketing asked a harmless question. What role did Daniel play in winning this contract? Jessica laughed into the microphone. "Oh, Daniel." She turned toward me with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "He's replaceable." The room went completely silent. She wasn't finished. "This company is mine. I built it. If Daniel disappeared tomorrow, we'd hire another IT guy next week." A few nervous laughs echoed through the room. Most people looked uncomfortable. I felt every pair of eyes turn toward me. Jessica smirked. "What? Don't look so sensitive. It's business." I quietly stood up. Without saying a word, I walked out. Behind me, I heard her say, "See, he's always so dramatic." That weekend, she didn't apologize. Instead, she accused me of overreacting. "You know I didn't mean it literally. It was just a joke." I asked one question. If it was a joke, why did nobody laugh? She had no answer. Monday morning, I came to work as usual. Only this time, I wasn't there as her husband. I was there as a shareholder. Years earlier, when we formed the company, my father, who had spent decades running a small manufacturing business, gave me one piece of advice. Never rely on verbal promises. Marriage is about trust. Business is about paperwork. Because of his advice, I insisted every ownership percentage be documented. Jessica originally resisted. "We're married. We don't need legal paperwork." I insisted anyway. The final agreement clearly listed us as equal owners, 50% each. Neither partner could remove the other, sell major assets, issue new shares, or make structural decisions without mutual approval. We both signed it. Then we put it in a safe. Jessica apparently forgot, or assumed I'd forgotten too. After Friday's meeting, I contacted the corporate attorney who had drafted our original documents. I explained everything. He simply asked, "Would you like to schedule a board meeting?" "I think it's time." Our company had 3 board members: Jessica, me, and an independent advisor named Michael. Jessica walked into the meeting Tuesday afternoon looking confident. She smiled when she saw me. "Oh good, you're finally over your little tantrum." The attorney entered carrying several thick folders. Jessica frowned. "Why are lawyers here?" Michael answered calmly. "Because today's meeting concerns corporate governance." Her smile disappeared. The attorney began reviewing recent decisions Jessica had made. Large expenditures, executive bonuses, luxury office renovations, branding contracts awarded to one of her close friends. Several of those decisions legally required approval from both 50% owners. She had never asked me. She simply signed the paperwork herself. Jessica interrupted. "I don't need Daniel's permission." The attorney slowly opened the original incorporation agreement. He slid it across the polished conference table, then pointed to one paragraph. "Actually, you do." Jessica frowned. "What is this?" "Our ownership agreement." "I know what that is." The attorney looked directly at her. "Then perhaps you'd like to read Clause 7 aloud." She scanned the page. Her face slowly lost all color. She read it once, then again. Finally she whispered, "Ownership shall remain equally divided at 50% each." Silence. The attorney nodded. "Correct. Mr. Carter owns 50% of this company. He cannot be removed without his consent. Neither can you. For every major decision, unanimous approval from both equal owners is required." Jessica looked at me. "No. You transferred your shares to me years ago." I shook my head. "I never did. I signed tax documents, not ownership transfers." She started flipping frantically through old files. Nothing. Because no transfer had ever existed. She'd simply convinced herself that being CO meant owning everything. It didn't. The attorney continued. "Additionally, we've identified several actions taken without proper authorization." He listed them one by one. Each one violated our shareholder agreement. Jessica's confidence completely disappeared. She wasn't dealing with office politics anymore. She was dealing with legally binding contracts she'd signed years earlier without reading carefully. Michael finally spoke. "As an independent board member, I move that all unauthorized executive decisions be suspended pending review." I seconded the motion. It passed. Jessica couldn't stop it. For the first time since I'd known her, she looked genuinely afraid. Over the next several weeks, forensic accountants reviewed company finances. They found no criminal fraud, but they did uncover extravagant spending disguised as business expenses, private vacations labeled as conferences, luxury shopping charged to marketing, 5-star resorts claimed as client meetings that never happened. Nothing individually catastrophic. Together, it added up to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Jessica insisted everyone was overreacting. This is how executives operate. The accountants disagreed. So did the board. Eventually, she hired her own attorney. Then another. Both gave her the same advice. Negotiate. Because the documents were airtight. She requested mediation. For 6 hours we sat across from each other. She cried. She apologized. She blamed stress. She blamed pressure. She blamed success. Finally she whispered, "I never thought you'd fight me." I looked at her quietly. "I never thought you'd erase me." That ended the conversation. A few months later we reached a settlement. I bought out her shares at a fair market valuation after independent appraisals. She walked away with a substantial amount of money. I walked away with full ownership of the company we'd built together. The first thing I changed wasn't the logo. It wasn't the branding. It wasn't the office. It was the culture. No more public humiliation. No more fear-based management. Managers were trained to coach instead of embarrass. Employee recognition became part of every monthly meeting. The giant portrait of Jessica in the lobby? It came down. In its place, we installed a wall featuring every employee, from interns to senior managers, with the words, "Companies aren't built by one person. They're built by people who trust each other." 6 months later, revenue increased. Employee turnover dropped dramatically. Clients noticed the difference. Several even told me meetings felt more collaborative than ever before. One afternoon, I received a message from Jessica. It contained only one sentence. "I never realized how much of this company you actually built." I stared at it for a long time. Then I deleted it. Not because I hated her, but because I no longer needed her recognition. The people who mattered already knew the truth.